In Christian belief, shadow people are often perceived as manifestations of evil spirits, seeking to influence and harm individuals. These entities are thought to be malevolent beings that thrive on fear and negativity. Lurking in the shadows of our world, they're seen as agents of darkness, attempting to undermine faith and sow discord. According to teachings, shadow people can affect individuals in various ways. They may instill feelings of dread, anxiety, or despair. They prey on the vulnerabilities and weaknesses of people. Their presence can lead to spiritual oppression, causing disturbances in one's thoughts or emotions and behaviors. One of the scariest things I've come to terms with in recent times is that many instances where you think you're losing it or seeing things and you're probably overreacting, it may actually be true that you're seeing something. Perfect example. I have a cat and I love her to death. However, those of you who have ever lived with cats or know cats very well, you know that they're basically Sour Patch Kids. They're furry little toddlers. They're very temperamental, and one minute they're sweet, next minute they're attacking your feet when you walk past them or breaking something that you told them to stop touching. So, at the end of the day, you realize that things can be pretty unpredictable with cats, unless you have an older cat. So cats tend to come from out of the shadows of your house, out of that closet where the door is creaking open, and then you think, "Oh my God, it's a ghost," but it's your cat. Um, there could be something that you see under your bed, and you're not quite sure what it is, and it's your cat. So at the end of the day, there are times where I think I'm seeing things, and I'm actually seeing things because it's my cat. Now, although that's kind of funny and it's sweet that, they can surprise you like that, it also makes you think, what about all the other times that I thought I saw something bigger, like human size? And was I actually seeing something? Well, I'm here to say that it's very possible that you are not bugging. So this leads to my subject. We are talking about shadow people. So before I give you my experiences and what I believe about these beings, I'm also going to need for you to like and subscribe. If you'd like to interact in the comments, please do so respectfully. Please be mindful of other people's beliefs and do not tolerate any type of disrespect or ridiculing of other people's belief. If you don't believe it, you don't believe it. That's fine. As I stated in my last video, I am the Silver Tongue, aka Big Mouth, Big Hair. This channel is going to be discussing a wide array of topics such as true crime, mysterious stuff, supernatural things, pretty much anything that I'm interested in talking about. And if you are not interested in those videos, all I ask is that you please at least try to give it a chance and watch it. And if you don't like it, then you don't like it. I understand. So about a week ago, I witnessed something very similar to what you see on the screen. So it was around maybe 9:30, 10 o'clock. I'm wrapping up things in my household, putting the kids to bed, and then I happened to look over and I noticed that one of my kids is trying to be slick and runs into the bathroom. So of course I'm pissed. I run to the bathroom to see who is this trying to play with me, and after I just said it's bedtime, I go in the bathroom, there is no one there. I know what I saw. It was a child-sized figure. It had head and shoulders just like this. I can't say I saw definitively which kid I thought it was. I just knew that it was a child not listening to me after I said go to bed. So it kind of was the opposite of what you're seeing here. So even though you see this thing peeking out as if it's trying to come in, it was the reverse. I saw something shoot past me and go into the bathroom. So my belief is possibly different than what yours may be, but let's explore what some other people think. So in Zimbabwe, they have something called the Zangaradzimo, and that is and are doing wrong in life. So let's say you're a thief by trade and you're not living right, you're doing a lot of crooked things to people. They will haunt you in your sleep, they'll follow you around, they'll cause havoc in your life. And until you make things right with yourself and with others, they will not leave you alone. the Philippines, the Tagalog people believe in the Anino. They believe that these are dead souls as well, or ancestors, and they can be called on at will, and they can be used to guide you or warn you about things going on, as well as, punish you if you are not doing things right as well. So, as I already stated, I have a slightly different perspective. I believe that these beings are not positive at all. They are not people. And I believe that they are demons. And I feel like they like the fact that people discount them as being, some type of friendly force, or maybe their dead aunt or dead grandmother, Uncle Joe, who passed away 10 years ago, and he's coming to watch over me. I believe, yes, they are watching you, but I don't believe that they're family or friends. If I feel like if more people knew what they were, they would be more hesitant about showing themselves, because they would realize I could be banished back to hell where I belong. So it's my belief that when you see a shadow person, it's usually during a stressful time in your life. I believe that they're attracted to negative energy and fear. So times of high stress and anxiety, depression, things that you're not sure about and you're constantly worried, I believe that you can not so much conjure these things, but it's almost like a magnet. It's like a shark drawn to injured prey. So you know how sharks are drawn to like an injured fish that may be bleeding, or a person that may be bleeding? They'll like sniff it out, they'll taste it, and then they thirst for more. And I feel like it makes them stronger when you're afraid of them. Another thing that I believe attracts these beings are drugs. And I know that some people may say, well, obviously, if you're doing drugs, you're probably going to see some things and experience some things. But hear me out. What I'm trying to say is that certain drugs like acid, PCP, and things like that, that can alter your reality or your sense of reality. I feel like they can open up a door, and sometimes you're not able to close that door. And I believe that a lot of these things are fueled by spirits. And just like how they call wine and alcohol spirits, it may not be for supernatural reasons, but I believe that there actually may be spirits attached. So, as children, we're trained to believe that, monsters aren't real, and, our imagination is getting the best of us. And no, you're not seeing something in your closet, Timmy. Like, you're just overreacting, or maybe you're thinking about that movie you saw yesterday. I do believe that kids do have a vivid imagination, but I also believe that spirits use children to gain entry into people's lives, because they're so accepting naturally, they're so loving naturally, and unless their parents have warned them about these things, most kids will not know the difference between the good and the bad spirits, because a lot of times spirits can masquerade as being your next door neighbor, when your next door neighbors don't even have a child, but you've been talking to this little kid every day. I also believe that children want to believe in magical things. They want to believe in not so much the supernatural, but extraordinary things. And what they think of, they believe. And I believe that if you do not warn your children about the dangers of certain dabbling and the dangers of certain things that may be out there, or looking for signs of things that are abnormal, and just having that open discussion without dismissing them, they can fall prey to these things. So back to the drug thing. I believe that not only are spirits linked to drugs, I believe that it's a form of occultism. Like, just like how you go to certain parts of the world and they use ashwagandha or other hallucinogens to open themselves up, they're onto something. I believe that they are onto something. I believe that they know that if you do certain things to alter your mind, that you absolutely can tap in a more real way, where it's not just a shadow in the corner. Like, you can actually, it's like a veil has been lifted and you can see things. So the Greek word for not witchcraft per se, but sorcery, as you would say, or magic, is pharmakia, which sounds a lot like the word pharmacy, which I believe that that's where the word comes from. So sorcery, witchcraft, the occult, and drugs, they kind of all tie together. And a lot of people who have taken these substances have reported seeing entities, even when they've come down from their high. And I also find that in my experience, some people that I've dealt with that have had a substance issue in the past, and I'm not talking about, that having the occasional drink or smoking a little pot here and there. I'm talking about people who take really strong mind altering drugs that actually make you see and hear things that you normally would not see and hear. And sometimes those people have those things permanently attached to them, especially if it becomes an addiction and a regularity in their life. And I feel like a lot of times those people have that darkness attached to them. So your friend is no longer just your friend. Your friend has another friend coming to your house with them, and that friend is not exactly, a nice thing. So I feel like people need to protect their energy. They need to protect their presence and make sure that they're not around people who may have these things. Now, I'm not saying that everyone who dabbles has a spirit per se, and I'm not saying that everyone has that darkness hovering over them, but I've actually heard a story of someone who used pretty regularly, and they had mentioned that every time they, well, not in the beginning, obviously, but towards the end where they started changing their mind about wanting to live like that, they decided that they were going to slow down on their intake and they were going to eventually stop. So when they made that decision to slow down, they started getting attacked spiritually, and they would see things in their house and things would be moved. They would go places and feel like somebody's watching them. And of course, they're not alone in these public places, but you know the difference between someone following you and having eyes on you and you just being in a crowded place. So they told me about this one time where it was the final time they went to go get high, and they said no. So they went there, they just had this ominous feeling, and they actually saw, well, the last few times he had seen these spirit things, these shadow things over their friends and family. As they're reaching over to hand them the substance, they saw not their hand, they just saw like a claw. Or as the person is about to purchase that substance, that spirit would be right behind the dealer or right next to the person making the transaction. And that's when they realize this is bigger than just having fun on the weekend. This is bigger than just making me feel good for the moment. This is something else. And the final time that they wanted to go use, that spirit was like literally on top of them. It's almost like they said they could feel somebody hugging them, but not like a friendly, loving hug from grandma. It's like an ominous, like hovering over you, like you better do it. You better do it. And when the person decided not to do it, that feeling went away. However, that night they were attacked, like physically attacked in their sleep to the point where they woke up with scars on their hands. So the dream that they told me they had was that they were sliding down a building. Like, I don't know if they said they jumped or if they were pushed, but they were sliding down a brick building and they were grasping, trying to hold on to pieces of brick and pieces of the building. What was funny is when they woke up, they actually had scrapes on their hand as if they had, actually been holding on to a building. Mind you, those scrapes were not there before they went to sleep. So I can't explain it. You be the judge. So actually, a lot of people have told me that when they've come down from a high of these hallucinogenic drugs, they found that whatever spirits they saw while they were high, maybe a week later, they're still seeing them. And it's not like the other parts of their mind have lost, such as like, you're thinking that your aunt is actually a lion because when you were higher, she was a lion. Like, no, I'm not saying that type of stuff. I'm saying that these people are still seeing shadow figures long after they stopped smoking, popping pills, whatever it is that they took. And that just further leads credibility to the fact that there might just be something to my theory. Now, we all are aware that addiction itself can change your brain chemistry, and I'm not just talking about the addiction aspect where what I'm explaining is that when you do certain substances, it changes your mind to think that you need that substance, and that's why you have to keep going back to it because you do not feel good or you don't feel right until you keep doing it. And that's not even mentioning withdrawal. I'm just talking about the mental chemical dependency of you feeling like you need to do that drug. And then on top of the chemical change of feeling you need the drug, there's also a part of your mind that starts seeing things because you open that part up and now you can't close it. So some people have heard the term, oh, he went on an acid trip and never came back. He went on a PCP trip and he never came back. That's what I mean. So I'm going to remind you that I am a conspiracy theorist and I wear my tin hat with pride. So please hear me out when I say what I'm about to say and don't take offense. And I'm not saying that this is slight to anyone who has lost someone to substance abuse, but this is just a theory that I have about why that person may or may not have passed. I could be wrong, but I believe that maybe some overdoses aren't just overdoses. Maybe their heart failed because they saw something. Maybe they got stuck in the spirit world and they couldn't come back. Maybe they couldn't give consent to what they wanted out of their soul or their life because their mind was altered while they were on that drug. And then, like I said, they got stuck and weren't able to come back. Now, once again, I'm not a medical professional and I can't speak on that, but that's just my opinion of what may or may not have happened. Who knows? So, as I stated before, besides stress and depression and anxiety, other things that can attract these beings are dabbling in things that you don't fully understand. So, something like a spirit board. If you don't know exactly what you're doing and not realize that there are dark entities attached to those things, you should not be playing that game. And then you'll have something that you can't get rid of. People who have reported seeing these shadow figures have also reported having more anxiety as a result of having these beings around, as well as having depression, sleeplessness, or nightmares on a regular occasion. So, now that I've said all this, what do you do if you see them? Well, here's the thing. As I said, I don't believe that these things are positive and they don't like you. They are not human, they've never been human. It's their job to torment you and bother you. They don't care if you're sick, they don't care if you're old, you don't care if they don't care if you're a child. All I know is that these things are basically bullies and they feed off of the weak. Now, I was raised in a Christian home, and once again, my beliefs don't have to be yours, but this is just my experience. All my life, I've seen things, I've heard things, I've had experiences that are unexplainable. And so has my middle child. He's had this since he was, I want to say, basically as old as he could talk, as long as he's been able to speak. So about say 3 or 4 years old, he's been telling me about supernatural, unexplained things. My other son, my older son, he has mentioned one or two things, but nowhere near on the level of my 9-year-old. Now, granted, it may be because he doesn't want to share them, and that's fine. But I know that what I've been told has been a lot, like a regular occurrence. At least once or twice a week, I've been told something by my 9-year-old. So, thankfully, my mother and father properly prepared me for spiritual warfare. And as a child, I used to see something in the hallway all the time. And it was always like a figure. It was never like a face. It was never like a full-on monster or what I thought might have been a demon. It was just a shadow. And there would be no one in the hallway, but I would still see this shadow a lot. And I felt like it would wait till I was the only one awake to mess with me. And it wouldn't touch me or do anything like that, but it just made itself known to me on a regular basis, and I hated it. So I used to ask my mom, "Can we switch rooms? Can we just move?" And of course, we were not rich. We had what we had, and it was what it was. But my parents were not moving. They were not moving my bedroom, and we weren't going to leave the location until we were good and ready. We didn't have the money to just pick up and go because of Casper. So my mom's solution was to say, "Listen, whatever it is you're seeing, you need to tell it to go." She taught me that God gave us power and authority over the entire earth. And I'm not talking about X-Men powers where we can, shoot lasers out of our eyes or fly. But what I'm saying is that we have authority in our tongue. We can speak to situations in our environment and make changes. And that's not a form of sorcery either. It's just using the God given power that we have. And, there was an experiment done with plants and with water where basically scientists had two sets of each item. So they had a set, sorry, not two sets, a set of each item where they had a thing of water and a thing of plants, and they had some person for about a month speaking negatively to the plant every day. And then the other plant, someone was speaking positivity to the plant. And then it was the same thing with the water. There were actual molecular and physical changes to the plant and to the water as a result of speaking positivity or negativity. Now, if we have that type of power with the forces of nature, such as life, which is plants, because plants have life, imagine what else we could speak life and death into. So just use your power. Now, again, my son has told me about his experiences, and I'm trying to do the same. But my difference is I'm not trying to, not so much that I don't want to feed into what he's saying, but I don't want him to fear more by telling him all of this. Maybe when he's about 11 or 12, I'll explain more of what these things are. But what I have explained to him is that at the end of the day, this is your house. Don't let them get the upper hand. Don't let those things tell you what rooms in this house you can't go into. This is your attic. This is your basement. This is your bathroom. Don't be afraid of this thing because it seems scary. That's what they want. They want you to feed them. They're hungry. Their hunger is insatiable. And at the end of the day, this is your house. And it doesn't pay my mortgage. It doesn't pay my electric bill, cable bill, or anything. So it has no right to be here. And my first feeling when I saw what I saw in the bathroom was not, oh my God, there's something in the bathroom. I was pissed. Because once again, you don't pay for anything in my house. So why are you here? I didn't invite you. I didn't send for you. Like, who sent you? Certainly wasn't me. Anyway, once you realize your natural authority, you will have the strength to pray it away and command it to go. Another suggestion I have is to try to deal with unresolved trauma and unforgiveness in your life. Now, I'm not saying let people figure skate all over you, but what I am saying is that do not give them the power or the satisfaction to know that they broke you. And it's not so much just trying to show off or, seem like big and bad and tough, but it's for you. You need the victory in your life, and you need to realize that these things attach themselves to negativity and weakness. And if they sense and smell that they have prey, they will jump on you and pounce like a lion and have no mercy. Because remember, these things do not like you, they don't care about you. But unfortunately, emotions can get the best of you. And I need you to realize that you are stronger than what these things are. They don't even have a face. Imagine being afraid of something that doesn't have a face. And here's the other thing, they need a body, they need a person, they need you. You don't need them. So when you remember that you are more powerful, you're more important, you're more valuable than these things, you need to speak to them and be encouraged. Like I try to encourage my son. And it's so sweet that now he seems to know his power. And I'm not going to say he's not afraid. He has his moments, but he is much less jittery. And I've noticed that in the past month or so, he's been telling me less about these things. And I've been asking him, are you still seeing things? And he's been saying yes. But he told me that all I say is XYZ, mom, or all I say is this, this, and this. So what I'm telling him is working. And he doesn't feel the need to run to me every time he hears something because I'm not going to say he's 100% got it, but he's getting it. And most importantly, stay prayed up, stay strong. Imagine prayer is like a workout. Prayer is like cardio, right? It's needed in order to get things flowing and keep things strong within your life. If praying is not for you, I understand that's your business. But this is just my suggestion and things that work for me. So at the end of the day, I hope that this was helpful information, and I need you to be careful and look out for the pitfalls that are related to these things. Realize that these things are not your friend. Their job is to torment you and bother you and give you unrest and take away your peace. Don't let them do that.